Hi everyone, Stepan here. In this week's chess meditations, I'm going to talk about a subject that I couldn't really see mentioned online too much, and I've struggled with it a lot when I started playing chess, and that's how to cope with defeat, how to cope with losses in chess games. And as an example, I'm going to use a game I lost today. Now, I've been playing a club tournament in my chess club, and this was the second weekend we were playing. Today was round 3. I'm going to cover all the other games in the Road to GM series. I just couldn't find the time during the week. And in the first 2 rounds I won against 2 tricky opponents, and in round 3 I faced a great guy, my teammate, who by the way drew with Adiban Baskaran in the simultaneous we played a month ago. And I prepared for him, and I ended up losing. I'm going to go through the game briefly. What I want to talk about is, if something is important to you, then how do you deal with defeat, and how do you take defeat as something natural and as something that is about to happen and is bound to happen, and which you should accept and go on. And tomorrow I'm playing round 4, so having a healthy mental attitude towards losing and getting back into the tournament is very important. When I've started playing chess, it really got to me every time I lost a game, and when something is important to you, and obviously chess is very important to me, then defeat and setbacks can't be really taken easily. And I would actually be devastated after losing a game, especially if I was better during a game. I would take it pretty badly, and I would need some time to recuperate, and often my tournaments would suffer. My next game would probably be doomed because of my psychological state. And then after, I would say, first 3 or 4 tournaments, I started implementing a method to cope with defeat, and I'm going to share it with you today. I hope you like it. Let me go over the game first. So my opponent is rated just a little lower than I am, and he's a great player, definitely underrated. He is 1800 something, but as I said, he drew Adiban Baskaran. So d4, d5, I knew that he played the London system. I went for this line with c5. I wanted to go for queen to b6 and sort of pressure his b2 pawn, get a setup in which I get to push through c4, and I got exactly what I wanted. c3, a more common move here is e3, knight c6, e3, and now queen to b6. Queen to b3 can be played. He did play it. c4, the best move now is to take the queen. He went queen to c2. Now I can play bishop to f5 immediately, because if queen takes, then I have queen to b2. But I wanted to fianchetto my bishop and get a setup either with h6, g5, bishop g7, or with g6, bishop g7. So I played g6. He played knight b to d2. Bishop to f5 now. He has to play queen to c1, because otherwise his b2 pawn is going to drop. Now I wanted to take the dark squared bishop, which is the London system bishop, one of his strongest pieces, getting across this diagonal and preventing me from developing normally. So knight to h5, bishop g3, knight takes, h takes, bishop to g7, and here I was expecting the move e4, and he did play it. Now we get to the critical position. I could take with the pawn and allow this tempo, play queen to c7, castle, and have a normal game. I could either castle queenside, but I wanted to take with the bishop, because I wanted to exchange this bishop. It was sort of uncomfortable here, so I took with the bishop. Bishop takes, knight takes, d takes e4, and here he can either play knight to d2 or knight to g5, attacking one of these 2 pawns, and he played knight to g5. And here, this is a game in 60 tournaments, so we have 60 games, 60 minutes per game, and 30 seconds increment per move. So I had enough time at this stage. I spent only about 10 minutes on the opening. And here I saw an interesting sacrifice, and I analyzed it for about 10 to 15 minutes. The sacrifice probably wasn't correct. I analyzed the game already, and the sacrifice is knight takes d4. Now my reasoning during the game was knight takes d4, if pawn takes d4 then bishop takes d4, and I'm going to have pressure on f2, I'm going to have pressure on b2, and I'm going to have queen to a5 checks, potentially winning the knight. And since I'm already a pawn up, then I'm going to have at least 3 pawns for the piece and initiative, so it can't be bad. And I played it. Knight takes d4, c takes d4, bishop takes d4, and here he has normal moves. He can take with the bishop on c4, and that's a good move. That's a move I feared. He could have taken after knight takes d4 even. He could have taken bishop here because my f7 pawn is falling, but then I would just retreat back and we would have a position like this. So not ideal, but okay. However, after knight takes d4, c d4, bishop d4, he didn't take the c4 pawn here. He played a losing move. He played queen to c2. And during my analysis of knight takes d4, I saw this move and I saw this as a potential defense. Of course, he has to defend this pawn. He has to defend this pawn. His knight is a problem piece, and if I castle, then I'm going to be fine. So during my analysis, before I took on d4, I had to calculate all of this, and I had 3 moves in mind here. I was either going to take on b2, take here, and then perhaps take the knight, but I saw that it doesn't work because after this queen to d2 covers the knight. I was looking at the move c3 after queen to a5, which looks very dangerous, and I was looking at castles short. And I decided before I took on d4 that if queen to c2, I'm going to play queen to a5. And after queen to a5, his knight is attacked. The only way to defend his knight is with queen to d2. Now, during my analysis, I decided to play the move c3. c3 is very dangerous, of course, unleashing this pin on the king. If queen takes the bishop, then the b2 pawn is falling and the rook is falling and the knight is attacked. So c3 was definitely a great candidate move. After we got this position, however, I started over-calculating, seeing ghosts, and very rapidly I took the queen, which is a bad decision. Now, after I take the queen, my position is lost, even though I thought I might have a great ending, 4 pawns for a piece. So the position went like this: queen takes, king takes, bishop b2, rook b1, c3 check, king c2, and I played f5, which is a questionable move. He checked me, king here, rook b to d1, I played h6, even though I can't take the knight because I want to get my king in here. Rook here, king to g7, he can't take the pawn because this happens, so he checked me. King to f6, he played knight to c7 here, I played rook to d8. Whenever he moves the rook away from the d file, then I'm winning. Let me just show you that here. Let's say he plays something. Well, let's just give him a nothing move. Let's say this happens. Okay, here, and I go here. Let's just give him one more stupid move. Let's say this. If this happens, then my position is completely winning because I can do this, and yeah, for now the rook is here, so I can't. But anyway, I'm threatening rook to d7 in many situations. So after rook b to d1, h6, rook d7, king g7, knight e6 check, king f6, knight to c7, rook a to d8. I want to remove his rook away from here. Let's say the rook, I'm just going to show you here. Let's say the rook takes, even though it's losing, but yeah, now this position is winning for me because he is busted. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. So anyway, after rook a to d8, he played rook h to d1, and my position is now lost. I have to exchange a6, bishop a4, and yeah, eventually I lost the game. I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's really hard to deal with this pressure. I'm either going to lose the e7 pawn, or if I move it, I'm going to lose it on e6 or on e5. And I have problems here with this check. And anyway, my position is lost. I'm not going to go into that too much. But I wanted to get to the critical position. After queen to c2, queen to a5, queen to d2, the move I originally analyzed was completely winning. And had I played c3, then he can either check me first, to create an escape square for his bishop, or he can just take my bishop. I actually analyzed the game with him afterwards, and we thought he would take here. After I take here, we check. King here, I have to bring his king back to the back row. So I check here. If the king gets here, then I first take the knight with check, and then I take the rook. So let me show you that. So this would be just too much, too losing. But after king to e2, check here, so he has to go back. And now I take, he takes. And the position is much better for me, obviously, but it's tricky because my pawn is hanging, my rook is hanging, both my rooks are hanging, so I can't really do something normal in this position. The way to play it is to check his king until I check him and my pawn is defended here, so check here, king here, f6 now, and now that this pawn isn't falling, my position is much better. He has to move the knight, and yeah, I mean, I'm just winning this position. He doesn't have to move the knight here because the knight is pinned. He can play a move such as here, but still I'm just much better, and I would eventually win the game. So during the game, after queen to d2, I had a blackout. I don't know. I should have played c3, and I didn't. So I lost the game, but that's not the point of the video. And as I said, I'm going to cover the rest of the games from the tournament eventually in the Road to GM series. The point is that I'm not crushed after this defeat, even though I had a winning position, and even though I should have won the game, and I could have had 3 out of 3 after 3 rounds. I'm not crushed because I try to follow what's written on the screen here, and I try to apply the Stoic philosophy to my chess and to my life in general. I've been reading Stoics before I started playing chess, but only recently have I started applying Stoicism to my chess games, and I have to say it helps. Mourning about something that's happened and feeling anxious, feeling frustrated about something that you can't influence is a bad thing, and especially when something is important to you and something is competitive, and when something is on a daily basis, and when you're playing a tournament, then you need to stay focused for each and every game, and if you trouble yourself with one defeat, then the rest of your games are going to suffer. So the Stoic philosophy is that the only way to be happy is to worry about things which you can influence, and that it's completely stupid to worry about things which you can't influence. So a lost chess game is definitely something that you can't change anymore, so worrying about it is a waste of time. And even though that's hard to grasp and hard to apply, most of you probably understand that that's the only healthy approach. One more quote from Epictetus, if you've read his Enchiridion. He has a paragraph in which he compares losing something and not being sad about it with. He says, if you're fond of a specific ceramic cup and it breaks, don't worry, remember that you only liked it because it's a ceramic cup, and get a new one. And then he says, if you like your wife and child, and if you kiss them before you go to bed and one of them dies, remember that you only like people, and you can get a new wife or a new child. And that's pretty brutal, but having such way of looking at things is very healthy, and it could definitely help in competitive sports and chess especially, because the psychological pressure in chess is tremendous if you are passionate about the game. Now, I'm not good at chess, but that doesn't have to mean that I can't be passionate about it, and I'm really serious about my chess, and I don't like losing. So this philosophy I'm trying to apply to my chess games, and these are the 5 steps I've devised about a year ago, a bit more, after I lose a chess game, and I always do these 5 steps, and I stop thinking about it. I've already done it for this game, but yeah, I just wanted to show it to you as an example. The first thing is you have to calm down and stop thinking about something that's over, and you can't really cry over spilt milk. So the first thing is calm down, don't think about it, and try to think only of the way you played and only of how you can improve your play next time. So once you are no longer frustrated or emotional, sit down on the board and analyze the game. Analyze the entire game, and you need to accomplish 2 things. The first one is find each and every one of your mistakes and write them down. Write them down in the specific move order, the specific opening. Write a small chapter on each mistake. That's what I usually do. I will write down my mistake, explain it thoroughly, like this is a mistake because of this, and this. I was thinking about this, and this when I made it. I was thinking about this during the game. This was my analysis, and this is a mistake because it does this, and this. The next time I'm in this position, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And once I write a small chapter, a small paragraph on each mistake, then I have a second task to accomplish, and that's finding a victory. In this case, well, even though the sacrifice was slightly dubious, and with correct play he could have refuted it before allowing the move c3. I definitely think that the move c3 is a victory, and finding a victory before the sacrifice was really hard. I was analyzing how I could have played it had I not sacrificed the knight, and I did that. So your second task is to find a victory, and this will make you feel calmer, and you are going to be more assured that you are going to be able to find a good move, a better move next time you are in a similar position. And of course, when you play chess, one of the most important things is to correct your mistakes and never repeat them again. So this not only helps your psychological state, it helps you improve your game. And the last thing, and probably the most important thing on this list, is stop thinking about the game. This was the hardest one for me, and I only managed it after about 10 or 20 tries, and now I have to say I'm doing it pretty easily. After you've done these things, these 4 steps, just stop. That this game is irrelevant. You have a new game tomorrow, and that's it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I hope you can sort of relate to this if you play tournament games, and it doesn't really have to be chess. It could be any competitive sport or a career or love life or whatever. Whenever you're faced with defeat, just try to do these 5 things and take a stoic approach, and don't trouble your mind with the things you can't influence. That's unhealthy and bad for you. And the only thing you can do is make sure that you win the next game. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Please do let me know what you think. Once again, sorry for not recording this game in the Road to GM series. I'm going to record the other games from the tournament probably next week. And thanks very much. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this method. Let me know how you cope with defeat. Let me know if you are crushed after you lose your games. And yeah, thanks. Stay tuned for more chess. See you later. Bye bye.